preview. Let's get into the match preview. It is Arsenal against Tottenham. Big game. Tottenham sitting down, what was it, 12th or 13th in the league as it stands. 12th, Arsenal second in the league, but a few murmurings of disgruntlement in the Arsenal camp at the moment. You're looking at different situations. A lot of Arsenal fans very disappointed, and even a few calling for Mikel Arteta's head at the moment, which is... make of that what you will. You've got players of the likes of Trossard apparently refusing to sign a contract. You've got players like Zinchenko wanting out at the moment. It doesn't seem like a totally happy camp over at Arsenal.
Albeit they've apparently just signed Zubimendi.
Yeah, they have just signed Zubimendi, so that's definitely going to give them a boost. And, you've got fans abusing Kai Havertz on social media and stuff like that with his recent performances. I mean, it doesn't all seem very happy. And you're looking at Arsenal, the form that they're on. The last 2 weeks, they've pretty much effectively gone out of two tournaments. 2-0 down at home to Newcastle, 1-1 and going out on penalties in the FA Cup to Manchester United. So that's pretty much two defeats on the trot at the Emirates, where they hadn't lost all season. So, I mean, what do you reckon's going down at Arsenal? Do you reckon there is like a lot of disgruntlement behind the scenes, or do you reckon it's just all blown up by the media?
I don't know if the media have suggested there's any disgruntlement behind the scenes, but clearly the fans are... look, when you look at certain fan channels, and you look at definitely fans who have always been sceptical of Arteta, they're definitely very loud at the moment, that's for sure. And look, the reality is they're out of two winnable cup competitions, and now they're going to face the prospect of trying to win the Premier League when they're 6 points behind and live by the game in hand, or the Champions League where... they've got no Bukayo Saka and they've got no X factor. I think they definitely the injury to Bukayo Saka is a massive blow to them, because I just don't think they have a great replacement for him. I think before he got injured, they were very, very heavily reliant on him, I think, and they relied on him to basically pull a rabbit out of the hat every other week. And Arsenal were playing this kind of pragmatic style where they would be kind of soaking up pressure, sitting back and not playing that hell for leather football we saw maybe a couple of years ago, where they really went 8 points clear ahead of Man City before collapsing right at the end. We're not quite seeing that from Arsenal this season, and there are times where they're having a lot of possession and they're struggling to break them down. They're struggling to create good quality chances, and we saw when Ødegaard was out, but in the earlier in the season, they were struggling to create chances. Now Saka's out, they're struggling for those moments of magic. They need both of them, really. I think if one of them's out, they really struggle, because I look at the other players in their attack, and they're not bad players. You look at Martinelli, Trossard, Havertz. I'm not saying these are bad players, but these aren't players who are going to win you a league. These aren't players who are going to take you that next step. And you look at the players who are that, it's probably only Ødegaard and Saka who are that kind of quality. So when one of them's missing, all of a sudden I feel like Arsenal are quite a lot easier to deal with than they were beforehand. And I think that's bearing out. They did get that win straight away. But I remember saying after they got that win against Brentford, after the game after Saka got injured, but I remember saying, yes, they got that win, but it won't be this game that affects them. It'll be other games. And that's what's come to pass. They drew with Brighton now. They've lost to Newcastle, lost to Man United on penalties. And I watched that game against Man United, everyone's saying, it was just the missed chances. But people are not taking into account, before the red card, they didn't really create anything. And it was only after the red card that they started to really kind of take advantage of that extra man. Yeah, they did create chances and missed them after that point, like they missed a penalty and Havertz missed a sitter. But this narrative that they are creating chances and it's just about putting them away. It's not the case. They did struggle to create chances before that red card, and after the red, yes, it's not so easy to create against 10 men, but you still had that man advantage, and that did make the difference on that day. It wasn't just a case of you had chances. So I think they definitely struggling against low blocks to really create good quality chances, and that has been even a problem with Saka there. But I think it's going to be exacerbated now with Saka out, in my opinion. Obviously, we're facing them. We're a team that does give up chances. We're a team that we know we're going to attack. We know we're going to go for the win. However we play, we're going to play our football. Doesn't mean that we can't defend properly, and I think hopefully against Liverpool we showed that we are capable of putting in much more solid defensive displays than we have throughout the season. So going into the Arsenal game, off the back of that was our, I know we had Tamworth in between, but that was our last game against a Premier League side. That's really encouraging. But I'm sure Arsenal will be looking at that situation thinking, I can't see them not coming at us, obviously, at home and trying to press high. I don't see them like playing how they did at the Lane earlier in the season, where they were just sitting back and soaking up pressure and basically just scored from a corner. I think they'll go for us. I think they're going to come for us. I think they're going to try and press really high. They're going to really put pressure on our back line and the keeper. That's what they're going to try and do, in my opinion.
I think that will suit us.
That will suit us, but as well, there is a chance our defence buckles under that pressure.
Yeah, I mean, look, in this season, you've seen like when teams do go for us, we can buckle under the pressure. But I feel in this situation, now we've got Kinski in goal, someone that can really play out the back and maybe, evade that press with just one ball. I think that will suit us really well with Kinski in goal. And we just got to hope that the attacking players are on form for Spurs. And, the likes of Sonny performs a lot better than he has been doing recently. And obviously, we know what Deki and Dom Solanke can bring in terms of physicality and standing up to the physical challenge that the likes of Gabriel and Saliba bring. But you look at Gabriel and Saliba and you look at Arsenal as a defensive force, and don't get me wrong, they've got a brilliant defence. They really do. But I don't think they're the same defensive force this season as we saw last season. They were going games on loads of games in a row where they just weren't conceding chances. But I think you actually can get at this Arsenal defence when you look at recent performances.
Well, they do have, also like us, they have a few injuries at the back. Probably not as costly as us, but still they do have a few injuries at the back. So I think
they still got like 3 out of their back 4 that they're going to play.
Yeah, and I think as well, there it says Partey and Skelly, but I think Timber's going to play, probably on the right back anyway, or left back. Either way, he's obviously a very good player. So I think they're really only missing Ben White in their first choice front back line.
We've got Ben White and Calafiori, yeah.
I think in the first choice, I think it's just Ben White. I think their first choice would be Timber on the left and White on the right, in my opinion, with Saliba and Gabriel. So I think for their first choice, they're only really missing Ben White.
But even if Ben White's out and you put Calafiori on the left and Timber on the right, you don't really lose that much quality. No. So it's still like 2 good players out.
Yeah, so I think they definitely have made a few more mistakes, I feel like, this season defensively than last season. I still think they're a very, very solid unit. I think they're still level best defence in the league with Forest. So it's not like they're crumbling or anything, or there's been a massive change. But definitely I've seen they concede a few more chances than maybe last season. But I also noticed that the goals they have been conceding have been all of them have been quite good goals, and all of them have been quite quality finishes from difficult chances. It's not like they've been easy goals for the opposition. So from that front, maybe they've been a bit unlucky that every good shot seems to go in against them. But I do think Gabriel and Saliba maybe... Look, I still think they're the best in the league, so it's hard for me to say that they haven't been as good as last season, because I still think they're the best partnership in the league. Even this season they've been. So, yeah, I still think they're going to be a formidable force to face, to be honest. I don't think there's that much going against them on that front. I still think it's going to be just as difficult to score.
I actually think when you're talking about best partnerships in the league this season, I think that maybe Van Dijk and Konate have been a better partnership, because Liverpool have started to concede more goals once Konate's been out. And when they had that partnership at the beginning phase of the season, they were barely conceding a goal.
Yeah, that's true. They were the best defence in the league before Konate got injured.
I do think that Saliba, I think Gabriel has maybe kept up his standards, but I feel like Saliba has been caught out quite a number of times this season.
He has been a few times, yeah. He hasn't been this imperious force. Usually it's him the one who's perfect every game, and Gabriel makes the odd mistake. And this season's probably been a bit the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. In terms of what we were mentioning before about Arsenal as an attacking force and about Ødegaard and Saka, and you're completely right, because you saw at the beginning of the season when Ødegaard was out, they were finding it hard to get wins. And now with Saka out, it's kind of the same thing. But right now, when Saka's out, you need someone like Ødegaard to really step up. And I feel like he just hasn't, since coming back from injury, and even before he got injured, he hasn't really announced himself on this season yet. And he's their captain. He's the guy that leads their press. He's someone that works incredibly hard. But in terms of creating those incisive chances, he's not really doing that at the moment. And I don't know what's really going on with him.
Well, I thought against Man United, he created a lot of chances. They just didn't put him away in that game. But yeah, I think you're right. Other than that, I think he's not been great. I think he's struggled. Maybe he's struggling with that dynamic to link up with with the right hand side. Like when Saka's there, I think they find it a lot easier to, be a bit more fluid and kind of do those triangles. When Saka's not there, he's doing it with Sterling, he's doing it with Martinelli. It's not the same dynamic. They're not on his wavelength as much. So I think that's a problem. I also think he is creating chances for the likes of Havertz, who's missing a lot of sitters at the moment. So that's obviously been disappointing. But I don't think he's influencing games the way that he has been in previous years, for sure. I do think he's struggled in that aspect. So I don't know what's going on with him. Maybe he's still struggling to get back to his best after that injury. We saw like with Maddison last season, that did happen. He came back from injury and just never quite hit the heights he did before the injury. So is that happening with Ødegaard? It's hard to say. But without him at his fully best, it's going to be very difficult for them to create the level of chances that they need to, I think.
So look, either way, it's going to be an incredibly difficult game. No matter what Arsenal lineup is, no matter what the Spurs lineup is, we always know going to the Emirates is always a difficult task for Tottenham. We haven't won there in the league since 2010. We did win there in the Carabao Cup. What was it? 2014? Oh no, what was it? What year was it?
2018.
2018, when Dele Alli and Son Heung-min scored those goals. But our recent record against Arsenal is nothing short of embarrassing. It really is. Look at that. In the last 5 games, only 1 point. And that 1 point was at the Emirates in a really good performance where, we really could have won. The last couple of games, though, you look at it, the 1-0 earlier this season, I felt like we should have taken more out of the game. In the game last year at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium at the back end of April, I mean, they go 3-0 up at half-time from 3 set pieces. Mm-hmm. And in the second half, we actually made a really good comeback, and we actually could have got back in that game if we took more of our chances. But basically, the tail of the last 2 games against Arsenal have all been set pieces.
Essentially. And that's been our Achilles heel in these fixtures. I think they've both been really tight games, especially the one earlier this season.
And it's mad to say it's been a tight game when you're 3-0 down at half time.
Yeah, especially the one this season, though, extremely tight, very little on either side. We were kind of winning the ball high up the pitch and not taking our chances or doing enough from them. They were offering very little going forward, and then obviously they get a corner and they score it and then just defend and keep a clean sheet. So it's going to be very difficult. Obviously, I felt like with Romero and Van der Ven, it's a lot easier to contain Arsenal than it would have been with than it is going to be with Dragoshin and Archie Gray. So whether it's going to be as tight in this game in terms of, I felt like last game there was just very little goalmouth action, very little chances. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see how Gray and Dragoshin step up to that challenge. But as well, they've had Saka in the last game and they're not going to have him in this game. And he has also been a bit of a thorn in our side in these games. Against us last season when they won 3-2, he was a massive on the counter in those corners. He was massive. Last season, the game early in this season, he was one who took the corner for the goal. So I felt like Ødegaard's corners were not as good against Man United. That was definitely true compared to Saka's corners. So I feel like he could be a big miss. But they have been very tight games. And obviously we drew at the Emirates last year 2-2 in what was a very good performance. We have something about midweek at the Emirates getting a result.
Do we?
Yeah.
The only ones I remember are the 4-4 and the one in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, I think that's the only ones they've been.
All right.
So midweek
all the
at the
omens
Emirates.
are good, people. All the
Midweek
omens are
at the
good. But
Emirates.
please, I'm just begging. I'm begging Tottenham to slap these lot
Midweek
up.
in general, because the one where Danny Rose scored, that was midweek under the lights. We beat them.
Yeah, that wasn't the Emirates, though.
Huh?
That wasn't
No,
at the
but still
Emirates.
midweek.
Yeah.
When we beat them under Conte 3-0, that was a midweek game as well.
Yeah, and also the 3-3 at
3-3
at Tottenham was also
that was
midweek.
midweek. So we have a good
Have we ever lost to Arsenal midweek?
Don't know. We have a good midweek record.
Have we ever
against
lost to
them.
Arsenal in the midweek game?
And also, as I bumped into
We have in the Flamini one.
Flamini. Okay, that doesn't count. Carabao.
But we'll count our Carabao one.
We'll count our one, but not that one. I was talking as well to a friend, and he reminded me that in terms of us going to the Emirates and scoring a goal, we do tend to score when we go there.
Yeah, there has been a number of times where we lost 3-0.
No, 3-1 we lost. We didn't lose 3-0.
We've lost 3-0 a few times, haven't we?
No, we always get a goal, I think.
Or maybe I'm going back in the years because I remember 3-0 when Gilberto scored a couple of goals.
But in recent years, I think I can remember once we lost 2-0 in 2017. But other than that, I think every other time we've at least scored a goal. So hopefully that means they won't get a clean sheet. But they did keep a clean sheet against us last game. So
the last time we didn't score at the Emirates was 2017 when we lost 2-0.
no, that's what I just said. There you go.
Yeah. When Mustafi and Sanchez scored
yeah.
in the first half. But I am just praying. I am praying for us to go there and smash these lot up. I'm begging, because they are there for the taking right now. They are there for the taking with the way they're playing at the moment. They're not creating that many chances. Yes, we've got a defence the way it is, a patched up defence, but they've also got a patched up attack. So I know if we go there and actually win and get a result against them, all the excuses are going to come out, aren't they? Oh, we got injuries. Oh, we got this, we got that. And they won't take into account anything, what's going on the other side and how we've had to attend injuries. Like, all I've heard for the past 2 months is how poor or Spurs are, how shit Spurs are doing, and not taking into account any of the injuries, right? And now as soon as they get a few injuries, they're like, oh, look at us, we've got so many injuries, how are we going to cope? Why can't we're not winning any games because of these injuries? And it's just not a level playing field when they try and assess what's going on. These lot are absolutely shameless. And the most shameless one of the lot is that absolute Judas, Sol Campbell. I can't believe what I saw today, that Google campaign that he's doing with them. It actually made me sick. And
Boycott Google.
Oh my God, everyone boycott Google right now, because that was
Bing all the way.
The most shameless advert I've ever seen in my life for someone who did what he's done all those years ago in 2001. And for someone that has gone about his business since then saying, oh, Spurs need to forget about this, I regret what I did, I this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. Then to go on and do a Google campaign, basically just taking the piss out of it. The guy has no self-awareness whatsoever. He's never had any self-awareness, and it just gets worse. It just gets worse. And when you're praying, when you're pleading with a fan base to forget about it, and then literally the day before the North London derby, you're throwing it back in their faces. What does he expect is going to happen? Literally, what does he expect?
100%. I mean, couldn't agree more. The guy is the biggest traitor in football history, in my opinion. And I don't understand how he can want people to move on from it and forget about it and do things like that and literally put it back in people's minds. I mean, first of all, he's an idiot. It's no surprise that he's not got a job in football. No one wants to touch him when he's behaving in the way he behaves. And the reality is, what he did is going to stick with him, and he's clearly got no problem bringing it up again. And so when he receives the kind of backlash or whatever he receives, I mean, I don't know what he can say to that. Obviously, it should never be, I'm not advocating any violence or anything like that, but when he receives backlash for his actions and then he brings up and throws it in the fans' faces like he did in that advert, I mean, what does he expect is going to happen? People are just going to ignore it, and people are going to say, oh, how funny is an advert? No, I think Spurs fans will rightly not be happy about it, and it's going to be back in their minds again. He's just bringing it all back. So he wants people to move on from it. He wants people to stop talking about it, and yet he's doing an advert basically about it. So I don't see how he's basically being a hypocrite on that sense. He hasn't moved on from it. He's still talking about it. He's still at the front of his mind. So how can he expect anyone else to move on from it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, absolute wanker, that guy. I can't stand him. And I was ready, when this stuff, I was ready to stop singing the songs and for it to be in the back of our minds and not give him the time of day, because he doesn't deserve the time of day. That's the reality. But when he brings it to the front of our minds, I'm telling you, the away end's going to be full of Sol Campbell chants tomorrow night. That's pretty much where it's all going to be focused on. And another one who I hate is that bloody Lego head, Mikel Arteta as well. He as well.
Arrogant.
He is so arrogant, man. I can't believe I never thought I could hate a Arsenal manager more than Arsene Wenger, and then Mikel Arteta comes around.
He's worse, honestly. He's so much worse. At least Wenger had something to back it up with. He had trophies and unbelievable teams. Like, Arteta's got nothing to back it up with. Just like, he is so arrogant. He just really believes he's the shit, and he's got nothing to back it up with. It's really, he is so horrible to listen to and look at, and God, he's so detestable. And I've realised as well, because obviously when we hated Wenger, it was pretty much as Tottenham fans who hated him. I think in terms of like the majority of the Premier League, like I think they didn't mind him. But I've spoken,
Not Jose.
not Joe. No, I'm talking about other fans. Like when I speak to other fans, they all hate Arteta. Everyone hates Arteta. Like no one likes him. No one thinks he's a likable person or a likable manager. And it's just, he makes my blood boil, honestly.
And he goes on with all his excuses. Like a few weeks ago in the Carabao Cup game, he was blaming the loss on the ball. On the ball, he was blaming it on, saying, "Oh, the ball's different in the Carabao Cup," but the ball wasn't different for Newcastle. The ball for Newcastle, they were using the Premier League ball that they're used to week in, week out. The excuses that come out from this man's mouth is unbelievable.
Never seen someone blame the ref more than him.
Literally,
Never.
and also. They were the ones that got all the help in the FA Cup game from the ref. That penalty was never a penalty against Manchester United. And they have the gall to blame the ref week in, week out, these Arsenal fans. They actually think like there's an agenda against them in the Premier League. It's actually a joke. It really is a joke.
And if we can put, pretty much, I think if we do beat them, it probably would be the final, especially if Forest win. I mean, if Liverpool win, it would be the final now, I think, in that dwindling title challenge they have. That would be so sweet to do that at the Emirates. The problem is in this game, it's a good time to face them, but it's also a good time to face us. It's just, whatever way you look at it, it's a good time to face both teams. It could go either way, but if we could stick a dagger in their hearts on tomorrow, that would be so sweet. It would be lovely.
I think if we win tomorrow, I do believe that's the final nail in their coffin in their season. And a lot of their fans have pretty much lost hope for the season anyway. And we're sitting here, 14th of January, and what happened? It was supposed to be their year. That's all I heard in the build-up to this season. This is our year.
They said,
this is our year.
They said, wait till City drop off, they said. Just you wait till City drop off and we'll be right there. Where are you? Where are you? Nowhere to be seen. That's
Literally. Let's just say we're just a city away. City and Pep Guardiola are the only ones keeping us from this Premier League title.
They said Arteta's giving Pep sleepless nights, they said.
Oh, my God.
Unbelievable.
And when they played Man City earlier on this season, right, with the Haaland and the Be Humble thing and all that, all I heard from Arsenal fans after that was, "Oh my God, did you see this Liverpool, this Man City and Arsenal rivalry is turning into the old Arsenal and Manchester United rivalry. They hate us so much. They hate us." Well, there's nothing to hate because literally nobody cares. Nobody cares about Arsenal. You're the butt of all jokes. And yes, I know Spurs have been the butt of all jokes, but you really are because you think that you're something that you're really not. You really do. You know?
We know what we are.
Exactly. We actually know what we are. You know? Arsenal fans literally think they are the God's gift to earth. And you're looking at it, right? You're looking at it. Mikel Arteta. Well, everyone wants to go about Spurs not winning trophies, but where's Arsenal's trophies? Since Arteta came in and won the FA Cup in his first season with Mikel Arteta's squad, with Unai Emery's squad, right? But since £700 million later, or however much, 800 million, whatever, gone out in the FA Cup third and fourth round every single year. In Europe, they've done absolutely nothing, going out to the likes of Sporting Lisbon and Olympiacos, and whoever else they've gone out for. And in the Carabao Cup as well, they've done absolutely nothing. And in the Premier League, all they've done is bottle it. And now they're further away than they've ever been. So
they're not even Pochettino's Spurs. At least he got to a Champions League final. They're not even Poch's Spurs. Come on.
All Arteta is a nearly man, and he's going to be gone pretty soon. And all I heard was Mikel Arteta, the best manager since Sir Alex Ferguson to grace the Premier League. Get back in your holes, man. Get back to South London where you belong.
Do you actually think there's a chance they'll sack him?
I think. What does he need to stay in a job for next season?
I'm not talking about fans being happy. I'm talking about the board actually going out their way and saying you're sacked.
I do think if they fall out the title race completely, go out the Champions League fairly early, there will be a conversation for it because you need to improve year on year. You need to be in consistent title challenges. And with the Man City drop-off that's happened, like, can you imagine if Man City finish above them this season?
If they finish top four, I don't see them sacking him.
Even if it's fourth?
Yeah. I don't think they sack him. As long as they get... I think it's similar to Wenger. As long as they're in top four, I don't think they're going to sack him. I think
maybe you're right. But
I think the fans will be calling for it, or some fans anyway, will be calling for it. But I think unless they finish, I think there's only a real conversation about actually sacking him if they drop out of the top four.
I genuinely don't care if Arteta's there or not. I don't think he's a threat. I really don't. Like, yeah, he's done well the last couple of years, but you see already Liverpool had a drop off and straight away, bang, they're above them. Chelsea are coming. I think they're going to be above Arsenal pretty soon. If Ange Postecoglou and his ideas come to fruition, then you never know what can happen there. I don't see Arsenal as too much of a threat in terms of actually going and winning major honours.
I agree to an extent. If they do get a really great striker and Zubimendi's through the door now, I think there could be a threat if they get a really good striker, depending on who. Like I said, they do convince Isaac to come somehow. I think that's kind of been the difference this season. If you replace Havertz with an Isaac, I think they're probably top of the league right now. So I think on that sense, he could be a threat. But I think the thing is with Arteta, his ego gets in the way. And I think his ego was that I could turn Havertz into a world-class striker. And that's his ego talking, and it's got in his own way. And they could have signed a striker in the summer, and they didn't because Arteta was like, you know what, I think Havertz is. I believe in my own coaching ability to make Havertz into the striker I need him to be, and it hasn't worked, and it's backfired.
But he's turned Arsenal from 2 years ago. I know they bottled the league that year, and they were top of the league for however many days, but they were actually playing some really good football. And from a neutral, they were actually a really good team to watch. And now, I mean, nobody likes watching Arsenal play. They're the most boring team.
So
They're the most boring team. Like, they just sit back, they wait for their moments here and there, and they've been bailed out by Bukayo Saka in pretty much all their wins this season.
Makes Mourinho's Chelsea look like prime Barcelona.
Literally, they're just like... And you know what? A couple of years ago, I got a lot of hate for saying this. I got a lot of hate. I said they're a glorified Bolton. That's what I said 2 years ago. And now everyone's calling Arteta the Spanish Pulis, and now everyone's saying they're prime Stoke. So, I mean, yeah, maybe I was wrong on the teams. It's not Bolton, it's Stoke. So sorry for getting it wrong, because they are basically a glorified Stoke City. That's all they are right now, relying on set pieces, not being able to create consistent attacks. And that's all they are. That is all they are. And if they're going to be a threat and win the league playing that kind of football, I just can't see it.
So we're going to win tomorrow?
We're going to win tomorrow. We're going to win tomorrow. I'm actually, I wouldn't say confident, because I'm not confident of a win, but I really see the way the two teams are going into it. Both teams are obviously not winning consistently. But I feel that if Spurs get it right on the day, and we have been getting it right recently in the big games, that Liverpool game aside, in the majority of big games against big teams that we're playing recently, we play really well and we create chances and we put the ball in the back of the net. And I feel like that's going to happen at the Emirates. And it's been too long coming. It's been too long coming to win a game at the Emirates. So let's go there and let's stick it to them. And if we go 1-0 up early, then I think we're gonna go and exploit them even more. And with the likes,
Arsenal, it's going to be, if we beat them, the meltdowns are going to be so good.
With the likes of Kinski and what you're saying is that they're going to come out and press us. I think Kinski could be the X factor in terms of his ball playing ability and playing over their press and really being able to hurt them. So I've got a feeling that we're going to go there and we're going to take 3 points, and that's going to be the final nail in that coffin.
I think we got a good chance, and I'm a lot more confident after that Liverpool performance than I would have been before. But I think the reality is they still are creating chances, and their back line, as much as gettable, our front line is there's still something missing from it. And unless they're on their absolute A game, will Arsenal find it too easy to keep us out? That's what I'm worried about. So
I'll scrap that. I've just seen something that's given me a lot less confidence about tomorrow. Spurs are going to be in their light blue kit tomorrow.
Oh, God. That's because of that. Arsenal won the away kit in the earlier game, weren't they?
But why? Why do they do that? Just play in white, man.
Because of Arsenal's kit, it's got white in it, apparently. So
that's ridiculous.
There's too much white. There's too much white in the Arsenal kit.
Man. It's ridiculous. Spurs, Arsenal should be red against white. That's what it should be.
Exactly. 100%. Disgrace. Game's gone. The game has gone. I think we're good enough to get a draw in our current state. I think Bergvall is going to have a really big say in this game. I think Solanke, I think is going to be absolutely really important, making sure he holds up the ball. And we're just going to have to make sure we defend properly. The problem is, I'm just worried we are going to concede from set pieces. I am worried about that.
That is the one avenue which I am very worried about, because I just don't think we've got the physical challenges to hold out the likes of Gabriel and Saliba from set pieces.
Would you that thing? Put 3 players up. Would you take that risk?
Just hopefully Kinski can catch it and just kick it out to one of them. Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I would be brave, and let's see if Ange's going to be brave on that aspect because. If they do that, if they declog the penalty box and that gives more space for Kinski to come and claim things, that might be the best way to go. So I'm going to go for I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. I think that would still be a big blow to their title race, for sure. I just don't know if we've got the mentality yet to go there and actually win and actually take the 3 points. But I do think we can put a blow to their title challenge.
Score prediction?
2-2.
2-2. Yeah, I'm going to go 3-2 to Spurs. I'm backing the boys. Let's go there, full of passion, full of heart, and let's go and take the 3 points and send them back packing to South London. I've just seen a worrying report as well that Arsenal have entered the race to sign Randall Kolo Muani.
Which isn't great. It's not great news.
At all.
Not great news. Hopefully, that's just posturing to try and speed up Tottenham. But we've seen that before. Put Arsenal's name in the race, but maybe they are genuinely interested in him. Maybe they want him, and if they come in for him, and Arteta sells it to him, especially with Jesus out now, Arteta can sell it to him. Look, you come in, and you're going to be our number 1 striker ahead of Havertz. I mean, it's tough to beat that at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. But look, that is the match preview, the big North London derby preview. Me and Sim will be down in enemy territory tomorrow at the Emirates, and you're going to have Barry and Amir in the studio for the watch along for you guys tomorrow. But it's a big night. It is a big night. The last North London derby of the season, seeing as Arsenal are out of all the cups. So we won't be able to see them in any FA Cup, and definitely probably not a Carabao Cup final either. So, yeah, Arsenal, this is the last we're going to see of you this season. And let's get the win, people. Let's go there with confidence and let's get those 3 points. And to finish